Today we're going to be warping our looms. First of all, please ignore the toilet in the background. That's embarrassing. Okay, so what we're going to do though is we're going to warp our loom. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our wood clamp and clamp it to the table. This will help keep it nice and secure when we are warping. The other end, which I'll get to in a minute, you'll be putting wherever distance apart you want to put your loom. But before we do that, let's make sure that our loom is straight, that the apron rod, which is that little tiny pole that I'm touching, is straight. Now here is the pole that you're going to be attaching all of your strings to, that you're going to be warping up. So you want to put that whatever distance away that you want. Mine is about 8 feet. Clamp it down, and then you're ready to start warping. So you're going to want to get your warping string. And before I did that, I wanted to know what distance I wanted apart. So my scarf is going to be about 6 inches wide. So once I do that, I'm going to tie on my string, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start pulling my yarn through, and you're going to do this over and over again. So you're going to pull it through all of the little slats on your reed, and you're going to take them down and put them over that pole. And then you're going to come back and you're going to take it through again and put it down, and you're going to do this over and over again until they're all through the little slats, that longer skinny piece on the reed. And you're going to do that until it's complete like this. And then when you get to the end, you're going to take that last one through, and then you're going to cut it and tie it off. Now, you want it to be nice and tight, okay? Just keep that in mind. When you're done, you're going to cut off, you're going to remove it from the pole and cut that off. And then I like to put rubber bands around the edges, which is just to help it stay. And you're going to start putting it back. You're going to wind it back like I am right here, and you're going to make sure it's nice and tight and nice and straight. Okay, this is really important. These papers help separate your warp strings, okay? And you want to make sure that they're nice and tight. Also, make sure your cog stopper is on, which is that little orange clicker thing that goes onto the part that you're twisting, okay? Now, you're going to add these cardstock papers, which came with your loom, and you're going to add them on and roll it around just like I am here. I know this video is going a little quick, so feel free to pause when necessary so that you can get to that step. So you're going to roll it back all the way until you have about this much left over. You need about this much so that you can tie on your warp when we get to that part. Okay, I like to just tie it in a loose little half knot there. I'm unclamping it from the table, and I'm going to turn my loom around so that I can do the next part. The next part of this is taking that little blue hook that came with your warp or with your loom, and you're going to pull through that slot where 2 strings are, and you're going to pull one of them through the little tiny circle that is in between all of the slots, okay? This way, you're going to have what's called a shed when you get done, where you can put the string or your bobbin through and weave up and down, up and down. Okay, so here I am going back and forth and pulling them through as I go. I will tell you, this part is a little bit tedious. Be patient. When you get to the end of pulling them through, then you'll start to tie them onto your last apron rod. So once you've gone through and you've pulled them all through, you're going to get that front apron rod, which is that little stick there that's connected to that front pole, and you're going to tie them on. So listen to how you do it. It's a little tricky, but you'll get it. So I like to start in the middle, and I do about 1 inch of the yarn, okay? And what you do is you pull it over the top and underneath, split it, and then you tie it in what's called a surgeon's knot, which is just going twice underneath and pulling it tight. Okay, so I do this to all across the whole thing, and I like to go middle, side, side, and then come back to the middle ones. So as you can see, I put it over the top and then split it and then come up over and tie it in that surgeon's knot, which is just the double through, like nice and tight. This way, when you come back, you can actually just pull them all tight. You want them to be even tension or even tight. So I kind of just keep going through and making them nice and tight. And then I tie them in bow ties until they are all nice and tight and about the same tension across the entire thing. This way, I won't have any issues with the tension throughout. All right, couple more steps here. You want to make sure that your shed is right. So I like to try it in both positions, up position, down position. And then I also like to make sure it's nice and tight. Now, here's one of the last steps that you do is you pull through with that bigger puffy string or a bigger weighted yarn a few times. Okay, this makes it so that when you've tied those off, it brings all of those strings nice and straight back for you to be able to start weaving, and then you're done. This is what it should look like. Make sure it's all right, and you should be good to go to start weaving.